Hey, everybody, Brian Stevens here. And as part of our series to teach you how to recruit and keep your babies in school, we've got a special guest. And I've got it right here from Round Rock. Look, everybody. Yay, Round Rock is here. And so we've had so much fun working with them. And I'm going to turn it over to my compadre in arms over here to give us a little bit of background on the district, introduce our super special, well, she's a new friend to me, but she's old friends with Rochelle, which kind of bums me out. And I'm going to try to become friends too one day. But Rochelle, can you tell us a little bit about the district background? And then I really want to, as fast as we can, there's so many good lessons. There's going to be so many key takeaways from this conversation that I want everyone to walk away with one or two things you can do tomorrow. And if you've heard me before, you know how big I am on that. I want this to be really practical. So Rochelle.
Sure. All right. So Round Rock ISD is headquartered in the city of Round Rock, Texas. It serves right under about 50,000 students. The superintendent is Dr. Aziza. Did I pronounce that correctly?
It's actually Dr. Azia. Oh, I can't even get it wrong. I have to do it all together. Dr. Hafed Azayez, and we call him Dr. Az.
Dr. Az. Okay, that's great. Okay. They offer an IB program, dual language immersion from pre-K through 5th, and an awesome CTE program, which I know that we're going to get into specifically. They have just launched a newly renovated virtual tour program that we're going to dig into as well. And we also, our special guest is Dianne Foletto, who is the Director of Communications for Round Rock ISD.
All right. So Dianne, thanks for coming on board. We're going to kind of do an impromptu, rapid fire type Q&A. And all you out there that watch this thank you for watching, by the way, is I know that you all like to prepare. You all like to get ready and get educated. And then most of you know that I go completely off script. Yeah. And so sorry, Dianne. It's going to be fun that way. It's going to be fun that way. So Dianne, I would like to start off with this. I'd like to hear a little bit about, we're going to get into what your team did, but I'd like to know how big your team is and what the complement is. How much resources does your district have so that our viewers can understand how it kind of compares to their district?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Brian. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've been working with Rochelle, and she's absolute delight. So I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about what we're doing in Round Rock. And I did need to make a correction. My title is actually Associate Director of Marketing, and I do internal communications for the district as well.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So about my team. So I'm really, really lucky. I get to work with a very talented multimedia designer and a digital communications coordinator. And we really do all the things. We do online and offline assets that our focus is to retain, recruit, and recapture students and staff. And we do branding, social media. We do marketing programs. So we really touch a little bit of everything.
So Dianne, one of the things that we come across, and for the people that are new to this, we've been with Round Rock for a year, right? So we've had this relationship for a year where we've recruited students directly in tandem with your team. But we do this around the United States, and the size of teams for marketing and recruitment and keeping your students and reclaiming your students varies so greatly. And I've not been able to find a rhyme or reason on why that is. Now, we know that your competition has big marketing teams and big marketing budgets.
Right.
And you're doing so much with a team of 3 and some ancillary members, I'm sure. Is that the right size for your size district? Do you find you get done, or do you need 10 more people, or?
Well, I mean, it is a challenge. I mean, we do everything we do really without a budget. So, and our competitors have very, very large budgets. We are lean. We're really nimble. We try to use the most effective way to reach our customers as we can. And we found that email is really the best way. We did a survey that came back that social media, only about 26% of our families followed us on social media, but we had 100% of their emails, right? So we kind of ramped up our email marketing and tried to create a nurturing message pattern. And that's really what we've leaned into.
So Dianne, I've got two takeaways already from our conversation so far. Number one is you called them your customers. And I love that. I love that. We do a lot of customer service training, and they are our customers. And with every student that leaves, a certain amount of money leaves with that customer. And I think in your district, is it somewhere around 7,700 per student, 72 to 7,700 per student?
I think it's a little bit more. I think it's in the 8. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it really depends on what program they're in. We get a little bit more for CTE, for IB, so.
Yeah. So the fact is, if people will start to radiate that out and train the rest of their team members that these are our customers, and yes, customers can be difficult, and yes, it's hard, and yes, our job is to train the babies, but if they see them as not the joke is work would be great if we didn't have to deal with customers. But what are you doing to teach the district at all that these are really our customers? Is there any initiative about that right now?
Well, I mean, we are working very hard at bridging the gap of the silos internally, and we've ramped up our internal communications. I'm a believer that you're not going to get somebody else to give customer service if they're not getting it. So we're really trying internally to give our staff some good customer service experiences, increase our communications with them, and I mean, we're a big ship to steer, and we want to get everybody rowing in the right direction and rowing at the same time. But it's a new way to think about public education is creating customer service experiences. And we have multiple touch points that we can do that, all the way from when you answer the phone to when you're greeted into the lobby to doing your enrollment form and getting that email back. We have a lot of opportunities to create touch points that show our customers appreciation, nurture them, and continue to build that relationship.
What do you think? See, I mean, that's like, I'm a business guy. I mean, I taught in some universities at, little associate professor type deals. I mean, I get some of the pain and how difficult it is to really teach the children in the next generation, how much heart and commitment. People didn't sign up to be marketers. They didn't sign up to be advertisers. Right. They signed up to train the babies. But are you finding a degree of resistance on teaching the faculty and the staff that these are our customers? Are you starting to kind of get into that? I guess what I'm saying is I notice resistance from some districts around the country. They just refuse to try to treat them as customers. And I'm just kind of curious to see what your experience is in Texas.
I don't think it's a refusal. I think that our teachers and our administrators care very deeply about their students. They care very deeply about the families of those students, and they show up and they give their all every day. And sometimes they just don't have enough left, right? And we are really trying to make a concentrated effort to work on our customer service from our systems, right? So if we get some systems together where we make it easier online through enrollment, and we increase our communications, then that's going to help a great deal. So I wouldn't call it resistant. I think it's a different mindset, and I think it is an understanding that public education doesn't look today like it looked 10 years ago. Yeah. And it's just an evolution.
So Dianne, I think the big takeaway that I hope that people take is we got to start to treat them as our customers. We got to start to be more proactive, and clearly Round Rock's at the pointy end of the spear, because you guys have already been working on that. And so I think that's a great way to do it. And there's so many vehicles that we can get into later on about how to do that. But I love that you guys are focused on that. And I think it pays off, because we know that, certainly Rashay does, when we're boots on the ground trying to recruit and we work to get the babies, the families to the school, if in some districts, if the front desk worker treats them like a burden instead of an opportunity, that parent will walk away because they will get treated very, very well by the competition.
That's
VIP
right.
tours and things like that. So I'm going to get to your tours in a minute, by the way, because I know you guys, I'm going to get to that. But first, before I get to that, you said one other thing is you indicated that a better way to communicate was email versus social media. And
I think so, at least for our families.
I'm going to confirm a lot of what you just said, by the way, but I'd like to know a little. So how did you come to that realization? And is email the best form to communicate with them right now, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, I think it really depends on who you're communicating with, right? I mean, and it goes down to the tools that we have also. So there are certain apps that you can get, but they all cost money. And we do have an app. It's not an integrated app. And the difference between that is who's signing on. You can tell who's signing on. And then we could really target our messaging a little bit better if we had push notifications and texts to them. But we can't afford that. So what we can afford is push notifications by school or by district. So we encourage people to sign up for push notifications. We'll send out push notifications. We'll send out email primarily. And the way we discovered that was just really our results. It started with a survey. We did a climate survey. And as I said earlier, only about 26% of the people said that they followed their school or their school district on social media. Well, that wasn't enough, right? We need to make sure we were reaching everybody. So we really ramped up our, no, it's okay. We really ramped up our email. We send out 2 newsletters a month. We send out one that talks about news and updates for the district. And then we send another one that is our events e-news. And that promotes upcoming events that are happening in the district. We have 5 high schools that put on phenomenal musical theater, art shows, band, orchestra, sporting events. We do a Comic-Con, we have parent seminars. So we send out this events e-news and we invite our community into our facilities. We want them to see the hard work that our kids went into these productions or their materials. We want them to use the facilities. And I mean, it's because of them that we have these facilities. We want them to be proud of the facilities as much as we are.
So Dianne, I always break these things down about like the art and science, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the art is the messaging and the content, and the science is, you know, what vehicle to use. And you really fell upon, like, from our experience, and we attend a lot of conferences on marketing and advertising, like so many people do. But one conference I got to give a lot of credit to is called LeadsCon. LeadsCon is, it has nothing to do with any of our schools. It has nothing to do with the industry that you and I are in. But it's about mortgages and loans, and those people know how to pound and pound and pound and pound and wear people out. So you can learn from them. And the thing that we learned years ago, and it hasn't changed, the number one form of communication that's the cheapest, most cost-effective, pound for pound, is email.
Yep.
People keep their email address longer than they keep their homes now. They go with their email addresses for years. They have 3 or 4 houses over the course of 20 years, but they keep their emails. And it's so cost efficient to use their emails. And then you start to look at those other vehicles, and golly, I know why you like her now, because she said this other thing, which is know your targets. And I mean, we've had to go into literally strawberry fields because that's where the immigrants were. They didn't have cell phones, didn't have email. So we had to send people into the best way to communicate with them was to go to where they worked, and happened to be in the strawberry fields. And so we did that throughout Georgia and Florida. And so I get that, but when we're talking about these global communications, we know email, text messages, which is a little bit more expensive,
Right.
but apps, I'll tell you, not only, and we've looked into that, and I think you fell on something, is that it's another thing for somebody to open. It's another thing for somebody to forget to look at. And yeah, you can have your notifications and your pops and your bings, but you always check your email every day. Tons of times you check your email, and tons of times you look at your text message. And everyone just does that. Even if they don't respond, it's such a habit. And so we really try to hone in on those tactics. And we've even done geofence targeting ads around like competitor schools, like charter schools. Like we can locate every cell phone at a school at a specific time of day. Well, the problem is that those ads show up on apps. And it's so small and so infrequent. We never found that it had any effect. And we spent tons of money experimenting with this. Well, tons of money to little Brian Stevens, right? Too much money. And so, boy, you really fell on the thing, which is like, know your targets, ask them. You did a survey. You found out about that stuff. And then you figured out the best way to communicate them. But every district across the nation, doesn't matter. Email's the number one form. If you're not using it, you're missing out. And I think that we'll call it the Dianne rule. For now.
Well, and I mean, we take it actually a little step further too, is we really try to, we don't necessarily target from the district, we'll target by campus. So if I'm going to give you a very successful campaign that we did, and we did it before we started working with you guys, is we don't like
to talk about that. I'm just joking. Go ahead.
We did a win back campaign where we sent an email to people who had withdrawn from the particular campus. And we didn't send it from Round Rock ISD. We sent it from that specific campus. And we made content that would speak to elementary parents, middle school parents, and high school parents, and sent these out. And we got about $2 million worth of return on that one. So we were very, very proud of that. We personalized it. We targeted. So they recognized the school that they were at. We used school branding, terminology that they would recognize, say, we miss you, we want you back. This is what we can offer you. And we would personalize it.
So one of the things that we've also learned over the years, and I think that we bounced back and forth with you over this past years, you recruit to the school, not to the district. And you recruit to the school, not to the district. So that's just one quick takeaway. I do want to jump into a couple other things with you though. And I'm gonna squirrel and chase a few things because we like to keep these things so that people watch the whole thing, right? So you did something pretty innovative with tours. And I'd like everyone to hear a little bit about your tours. And before tours are important because people want to test drive a car. All right. And I'll just kind of let that analogy sit on you. Right. Go ahead.
Well, I didn't solve a problem. So June is a time of year that I got a lot of email from people saying, hey, we want to come visit your school. We want to come tour your schools. And absolutely, right? We want people in our schools, but June's not a really great time for us because we have our MIS system, which is our technology system. They're working on student records and server maintenance during the month of June. And for them to do that, they close our enrollment form. So we can't accept enrollments during the month of June. And then, of course, summer break, teachers, administrators, our campuses are closed. But down the street, my competitor, they're open and they're having open houses and inviting people in. So, I mean, I really did it out of trying to solve a problem. I can't control MIS. I can't control what my competitors are doing, but what I can do and did was create an online virtual tour page that shows people what our facility looks like. And I'm actually hoping that it weighs in our favor for people who haven't quite made that move to our area yet. And I get to them first, right? So they go to our online tours page and they've already made a decision like, wow, look at these great facilities. They have a lot to offer. So they don't even bother looking any further. That's what I'm hoping.
No, I think you're really, really onto something. And we find it like with the competition, what we mean by competition, charter schools, private schools, home schools, right, whatever. So they will give VIP tours. I mean, they're going to roll out the red carpet. They're going to give you a cappuccino. They're going to give you a little crown on your head, take a paparazzi picture from you, and get you to sign the dotted line. And so, and even a virtual tour, and I know people are we don't have the capacity. We don't have the money. You can shoot a virtual tour on this. You can shoot it on your phone. And I wish that the district would stop worrying so much about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a B- video production, and you can have the children. I saw one district, they had the children shoot the videos and narrate the videos for the tour. It was unbelievable. I loved it. And so the fact you're doing virtual tours is it's a great thing. So was it really complex to get those tours built?
So it really wasn't. I mean, as I said earlier, I have a great team. My multimedia designer went around to a bunch of schools and he shot the video. And then my digital communication specialist, she's a WordPress master, and she kind of set it all up to where you could collapse different experiences, see what you wanted to see. And then we added some very brief content because people want to see what's there, not read, 3 paragraphs worth of stuff, just kind of gave some context to it. And we plan on using that. We haven't quite rolled it out yet. It's live on our website, but we have not used it as a tool yet. School shopping season's usually around February through June. So we're going to start pushing that out and using that in some email in some way. We'll probably put it on social media and just try to hopefully get people who are moving here and who are exploring our facilities to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, I know you shared that link with us a couple of weeks ago, and I can attest to the point that it was an amazing experience. Like, if I wasn't settled here and didn't love my job so much, that would definitely, kind of tease me into thinking about joining Round Rock, because the virtual tours are amazing. The fact that you can collapse and see the gym and see the aquatics facility and see the auditorium, like, it's amazing. And I've gone through it. So
what we'll do on this YouTube, let's add a link,
yeah,
so that people can see their tour. And I guess the one thing that I'd ask is that don't look for perfection. It's better to have a tour up. It's better to have still photos up than no still photos. And then, video's nice, and you can shoot it with an iPhone nowadays. And it'd be better if it had narration. It would be better if it was interactive, but let's don't let perfect be the enemy of better. And I'm glad that you guys are just getting in there and digging, Dianne.
I absolutely agree with that. We're not done with the page yet. We have a lot of facilities. We have 35 elementary schools, 11 middle schools, 5 comprehensive and 2 specialty high schools. We have 3 performance auditoriums, an aquatic center. So we have a lot of facilities. So we're not even done yet with what we can show. In fact, I would say we're a little light in our performance facilities that we're showing on there. And we have a award-winning fine arts program. We're District of Distinction for 4 years going. People come to us for our fine arts program. They come to us for our athletic programs, in addition to our great academics. But I mean, by doing the virtual tours, we can always add to it. And I got to say, you made a great point about it doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to have all this high intensity music. I'm one of those people who prefers not having a lot of music or sound to things, because usually if I'm looking at my phone, I'm probably someplace I don't want my sound on. Right. And so this gives me an opportunity to see what's happening and really focus in on one of my senses.
So it's interesting. You're talking about all these great things, and I go to districts. Some of them don't know that they have so many great things. You guys clearly know you have some awesome stuff. What would you say are some of the top 2 to 3 tips on ways to let the world know that you've got those awesome things? And I'm not talking about like email, because that's to your current parents. I'm talking about to new prospective families. What are the top 2 or 3 ways that you're using to communicate that out?
Well, I mean, I think that's difficult because difficult to say, because it really depends on who you're trying to reach. You've got your younger parents, which will probably be a little more of like your TikTok parents. And then you've got your older parents who might be more of your Facebook parents. So I'm not suggesting social media is our only way here. I'm just kind of trying to, I'm generalizing them, which isn't awesome to do to your customers. But for the sake of this conversation, I'm kind of segmenting them. And it is difficult there's so many different ways to get in touch with people that I don't know if there's any particularly right way. It's very hard. You have to. I honestly don't know how to answer that entirely.
No, it's really fair, Dianne. Sorry.
Without a lot of money, which we don't have to put behind buying lists, then we're kind of trying to do the best we can to put things out on social media and use influencers. Like, we've got a lot of realtors around here. Austin real estate's very hot. So when we give our virtual tours, that's something I'm going to push out to our realtors so they can use that. So we've got
Great
those
idea.
influencers. But it's difficult. It's difficult to compete with all of the media noise that's out there.
Well, then I'll give a few tips that we've learned over the years, and maybe you can pick something up.
Yeah.
We recruited just under 400 students for Round Rock, right? And I looked up the numbers before we started today. We spent about 150 on just advertising, about 150,000 on advertising. It was very, very targeted. And the I love the realtor thing. We do hard mail in some districts. I don't know exactly what we did for your individual district, but hard mail to new families moving to the area. Hard mail, like in their hand. Why? Nobody uses mail. That's why it's so awesome now, because nobody's using it, right?
We've done that. We did new mover postcards, but I will say that it is different. Yeah, when people move here, we'll send them it's difficult to get people who are already here and they're getting a postcard and then you're driving them online. So you're asking them to do something for you. Yeah.
And so but the hard mail is something they got to touch. And they gotta take 10 seconds before they throw it away. Oh, that's 10 magical seconds to cut through the nearly 10 to 15,000 messages a human gets in a single day. So how do you cut through the noise, as you said it, Dianne? How do you do that? So the other thing is, outside of text messages and phone calls, we still do targeted Facebook advertising in like parents groups and things like that. And then the one thing that you might want to consider, you may already be doing this, but a superintendent earned media tour. We like to try to encourage the superintendents to go on the morning talk shows and the morning radio shows and just get on a revolving circuit. And that's part of their job. You know, maybe it's the chief of communications, but we love the superintendent, the face of the district, to be out there going, well, we're doing it, because that free media, it takes the soup's time and it takes their coordinator's time. But boy, you get a lot of free advertising when you're on those Live at 9 shows and things like that.
So, I've always had a dream to do something, and it's a video series and it's really just, and the reason it hasn't been done is just kind of coordinating it, is we have an amazing career and technical education program, CTE, and we've got culinary and welding and veterinary sciences, computer science. I mean, amazing. I think there's over 30 different pathways that you can take. And auto tech, right? I would love to get those teachers to do how-to videos, and that help promote our school, right? How to change. I mean, like, I had to teach my daughter how to check her air in her tires, right? So if we can get our auto teacher to create like a 1-minute how-to, and then you've got your culinary teacher, correct way to chop an onion, that's a great way to get our programs out there and provide value for the viewer.
That is a ridiculous idea. That is very cool. So, wow, you need to do that.
That's a dream of mine. I'm working on it.
I'll help you. Let me know what I can do. I mean, Austin's got great mountain bike trails. So I'm in. I've done the Austin Rattle. I've done a lot of races down there. And so I'll find an excuse to come down for a little volunteer project, Rashay, if you don't mind. That's a very, very cool idea, and it's innovative. And what I hope that the districts out there are, they're watching this, they're coming up with creative ideas to nourish whatever they've got that's special, whatever their competitive edge is. And that is a cool idea. Just putting them up on YouTube and people will start to.
Yeah. I mean, it all goes back to, like, people care about their schools, right? They care about when their kid goes to school, the parent, I think we can all agree that parents want the best that's for their children. They want to know when they send their kids to school that kid's going to be safe, that they're going to learn, they're going to be challenged, and they're going to be cared for, and they're going to have fun. They're going to enjoy the journey. And the way that happens is who they're interfacing with, right? The bus driver who says good morning to them, the teacher who inspires them, the office specialist who helps them guide their way to whatever business they need to take care of for college recruiting, or the nurse who gives them a Band-Aid because they scraped their knee. So,
unless you're the father, then you don't know any of these things.
Right?
How do you have a daughter old enough to be checking air and tires?
Oh, thank you very much. She's actually 20 years old. She's gonna be 20 in a few weeks, and she's a sophomore in college, and she's smarter than I ever was. at
My
that
daughter's
age.
getting ready to go to college, so I'm a little stressed out. So I want to fold up with a few key takeaways from the day that I got. One, let's start treating the parents, the caregivers as customers. Let's start to try to reset that mindset, and it'll take some time. Number two, know your targets. Do what Diane said, poll. Go and ask them their best forms of communication. I already tell you what most of them are anyway. It's email. We already know it's email,
No,
text.
it is.
It's a secret, but it's email. It's
Well,
not
and
anything
I
fancy.
tell you why it's email. It's because people have, I mean, they can choose whether how intense they want to be into their email, right? It's a choice. It's like, I could check my email every other day, or I could check it every hour. So I'm in control of how often I check it.
But they check it, and that's
But
what's
they
key.
check
And it's-
it.
but
They
they
get
check
it,
it, and it's so cheap. It's so cheap. And then the last thing I'm gonna have everyone leave with is think about innovative ways to sell your competitive advantage. Is it your CTE program? Is it a drone program? There was another district in Texas we work with. They
We
thought
have a
they had
drone program too.
well, that's cool. But I don't need you to worry about the drone thing. I need you to worry about these how-to videos. All
Yeah.
right. Like
I
that
want to
is
do those pretty bad.
that is really, really cool. So we try to keep these things to about 30 minutes, everybody, so you can watch them during your lunch hour because we know you love that stuff. So Diane, I've got a million more questions for you. I'll do later, off topic. And but I want to thank you so much. I think we got some really great takeaways. So you're awesome, Sauce. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about schools and talk about marketing. And it's great to see Rochelle. She's been a great, wonderful partner in this. And I hope that we continue to work together for a long time.
For
Me
sure.
too.
I feel the exact same way. And thank you so much for being a great partner.
Thank you.